Hey, 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 this is Jennifer Allwood, and this is the Jennifer Allwood Show, where we talk about creating a beautiful home and building a creative business. Hey friends, today's podcast is sponsored by Antique Farmhouse, my source for farmhouse decor online. Go visit antiquefarmhouse.com to sign up for their daily decor deals, but I will forewarn you, they're addicting. You can get furniture, decor, art products up to 80% off retail. Again, go find them at antiquefarmhouse.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad that you are here, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. If you're listening to this as it goes live on iTunes, it's the week of Christmas. I hope you're getting to spend it with friends and family and are making great memories and are just really enjoying some downtime with friends and family. So I wanted to chat with you today, to you young mamas who are listening to my podcast. I know that there is a slew of you because you email me, and I love it when I get your emails, and I just want to reach through the computer and just give you a big old cyber hug, because I remember so well what it was like when our kids were younger and I was trying to run a business, when I was trying to start a business and then trying to get the business going and then trying to run it and then trying to scale it, all while having a baby on a hip. And that was all I knew until just a few years ago when all three of our children were finally in school. And so our kids are now 16, 14, and 10. And so we're in a different stage, one that's both easier and more complicated. I love that saying, small kids, small problems, big kids, big problems. Not that we have any problems, but just the things that go on and the things that you're needed for, they're different. And yet I really want to talk to the women today who are listening, who have a kiddo at home in a diaper. You have another one who's on the sofa right now looking at an iPad. You're wondering if you're letting them have too much screen time, or to the young mama who's got a baby with an ear infection right now, because I remember those days like it was yesterday. The other day on my Facebook page, I had an incredible Facebook Live, or at least I thought it was an incredible Facebook Live, and I talked about the pacifiers that I've kept in my pocket. So little backstory. Years ago, when I started the Magic Brush, my decorative painting company in Kansas City, we didn't have young kids. We didn't have any kids at all. And literally like 3 months into starting my business, we registered it with the state. I was getting business cards. I was getting in with all these designers. We were working in $1 million homes. And 3 months in, we found out that I was pregnant with Noah. And that just kind of changed everything, because the second I knew I was pregnant, I also knew that I wanted to be home as much with my kiddos as possible. So we tried to figure out a way to make that happen, and I was able to hire really talented painters to come alongside me and work with me and for me for many, many years, and that went really well. But it did not go without a lot of emotions and without a constant juggling act of trying to juggle the idea, or not the idea, but the reality of being a mom and being a business owner. And so, those things, it's not always easy. And I can remember just feeling like I was, so conflicted, like I'm trying to raise these kids and I'm thinking about work, and I'm trying to do work and I'm thinking about my kids, and, how does this work? And can it work? And will it work? And it did. It did work, and we made it through that season. But I wish that I could go back, and I wish that I could talk to my younger self, the mom who had the toddler with the runny nose. I wish I could talk to me, the mom, 15 years ago, who wondered if ever I would have an adult conversation during the day again, or if my life was only going to be trying to make sure my kids were napping at the same time. I mean, those are the realities of young mothers. And, the Bible talks about how He gently leads those with young. And thank God, literally, for a tender, loving Father in heaven who does gently lead young mothers. Because mamas, if you're listening to this, you're in the thick of it. Like, you are literally in the thick of it. But just because you're in the thick of it does not mean that you cannot or should not start a business, or work on growing a business, or work on scaling the business that you've already got. And so I want to talk today about the 3 reasons that young moms really make kick butt business owners and entrepreneurs. And they're just easy, simple things. But what I'm really trying to do is just reach through whatever device you're listening to this on and just encourage the heck out of you and try to kind of pull you up and along and out of whatever thinking that may be keeping you stuck, and help you just to really get excited about the possibility of another thing, in addition to maybe wifing and momming, to just really get passionate about something else. Maybe this like creative seed that's been planted in your heart, and you're wondering if you're ever going to be able to see that to fruition. So I just want to talk to your heart right now and tell you why, even though you have small kiddos at home, you would make such a good business owner. And so the time to start is not 5 years from now when they're all in school. That the time to start is now. Okay, it's now. So Number one reason, young mama, why you would make such a good small business owner. Are you ready? Okay, because you work freaky fast. Like, you're already freaky fast at doing things because you have to when you have young kids. You learn that if you want to take a shower and you want to look like a normal person by the time your spouse gets home from work every day, that you're going to have to figure out how to shower in like 2.2 seconds. You're going to have to figure out how to finish your lunch in like a millisecond because you have little people who need you. Like, you're already used to managing your time so well and doing things in a much smaller chunk of time than people who don't have small kids. Like, you have figured out how to streamline the getting ready process in the morning, or the getting out of the house process with all the bags and all the car seats and all of the things. Like, you're already good at working at an incredible lightning speed because you have to when you have young babies. Like, you literally have to. And so that is the first reason of why you would make a great entrepreneur. Okay, you already are able to do things so much quicker and just really be intentional about how things get done. And so that is number one, the reason why you would make a great entrepreneur. You don't jack around. You don't mess around. You want to get something done, you ask a young mama to get something done. Because I tell you what, she has taken out all the fluff and she has gotten it down to the bare basics of what is necessary, and she will get it accomplished. Oh, yes, she will. And so that's number one reason of why you would make an incredible entrepreneur. Number two, you're already used to multitasking like the very best of them. I mean, how many of you young mothers have literally found yourself, especially if you're mothering more than one, you found yourself feeding your toddler oatmeal or homemade guacamole or whatever it is that you young mothers are feeding your kids these days. And with the other hand, you're literally putting on your mascara and breastfeeding a baby at the same time. Am I right? Like, you have figured out how to send a text to your mother-in-law and be picking up the dry cleaning and teaching your kids how to do sign language, like, all at the same time. Like, young mothers or mothers of young kiddos are the very best at multitasking. Now, I do in my inner circle talk a lot about how multitasking, when you are in the position of trying to scale your business and grow your business, is not a good thing. Like, because it forces us, or it actually keeps us from focusing on just one thing at a time. And multitasking actually means rework eventually, because you're constantly, your brain is jumping from thing to thing to thing. But when you're in the thick of it and you have littles and you're trying to do a business, multitasking is a great, great thing. I can remember years and years ago when I owned my decorative painting company, The Magic Brush, and we were asked to do Extreme Home Makeover for ABC several times, and absolutely loved doing that. We did 3 different houses with ABC, and that was so much fun. But my babies were little. And so I literally can remember, I don't remember which of the boys it was, but I can remember being on the phone with a producer from ABC while changing a poopy diaper, and literally thinking, Lord, please don't let him cry right now. Like, please just keep him content. And it was one of my babies, I won't say which one, who was not very content all that often, to be quite frank. And so I was just thinking, please just like give me 3 minutes on this phone call, baby. I'm getting you cleaned up as quickly as possible. Let mama have this conversation. And I can remember thinking to myself, if this dude on the other end of the line, if this guy who works at ABC right now had any idea that I was literally changing a poopy diaper while we are figuring out what I'm going to do on the television show, like, he has no idea. And it was okay. Moms, listen, Some of you are barely getting by. You are like just holding on by your fingertips to both a business and being a mom. And guess what? That is winning. Like literally, if you're not drowning, you are still winning. If you're able to keep your head above water and change that poopy diaper while you're making that deal, absolutely you are winning. This is one of the reasons why moms make such great entrepreneurs, because they're used to doing that multitasking thing. They're used to doing more than one thing at a time and rocking at it. Literally, I would rather have a young mama on my team any day of the week than someone who has maybe not done the momming thing, because they're able to work from a different place because they've had to in order to survive with young kids. So that's reason number 2 why young moms make such great entrepreneurs, okay? Reason number 3, young mamas, if you're at home with your kiddos, guess what? There has never been in the history of the world a better time to be a small business owner than today. The fact that you're already home, you have time to be doing the most important thing that every business needs to be doing right now, which is building your business online. So literally, you're home anyway. You're sitting and playing on Facebook anyway. You're glancing at people's Instagram stories anyway. Like, why not use that time instead of just to look at other people's businesses? Just start your own, babe. Like, listen, sometimes I think that we women think we've got to have this thing figured out. Like, we've got to have a game plan. Perhaps we need a business plan. We need to have permission from someone to start this side hustle or this side gig or start this business, or we need to know all the things. No, you don't. No, you don't. I promise you, you don't. Here's what you need. I'm going to give you some of the bare basics, okay, of what you need to be an entrepreneur today in 2017. You need to have a business Facebook page. You need to have at least one other social media that you're on. You need to have a business name, and you need to get that business name registered with the state. And this is what I tell most of my creative friends. Find someone on your personal Facebook page who does accounting, who does bookkeeping, that sort of thing. Hire them to get all of your stuff, like paperwork and registering the business name and all that, legit, and you just do what you're really good at. If you're already home with kids, instead of you just watching them play with Legos, literally, mama, take that time, and while they're napping for an hour, schedule your Facebook for the next couple of days, okay? While your kiddo is doing a play date with your friend, go ahead and write that blog post. Go ahead and do that DIY project on a Facebook Live. I can remember my friend Shauna, when Ava was still at home, her so often taking Ava for me and just being like, Jen, get some stuff done. Do some work. And me just thinking, oh my gosh, she has no idea what a gift this is to me. She's giving me a couple extra hours this afternoon to totally just bust a move and work on my business. And it was such a gift. So listen, if you're here in this podcast and you don't have small kids, but you know someone who does, be a blessing to them. Like literally be a blessing to them. Offer to take their kids for a while and give them just some downtime where they can, in that downtime, actually be working a little bit. And so those are the 3 reasons that I think young moms make some of the best business owners. You're already used to working freaky fast. You don't mess around and do stuff that isn't necessary. You're sticking with meat and potatoes and what do we absolutely need to get done. So many people are doing things in their business that are literally fluff that they could be cutting out. Young mamas don't do that. They don't mess with fluff. They stick with the meat and potatoes, and I love that. Number 2, you're already multitasking like crazy. You're so good at it. Just turn that multitasking talent onto your business instead of always on your kids. And number 3, half of you are already home anyway. If you're already home anyway, you have downtime. While little Sally is in gymnastics class on Thursday afternoons, you take your laptop and you actually work. You write down your goals for 2018 and where you actually would like to see your business do. While you're watching little Johnny, do his soccer league practice or whatever, you don't have to just literally sit there in the stands and watch him for that 45 minutes. Instead, put a podcast on and listen to someone who knows something about business and can literally kind of help you figure out the next right step. So I hope that that is super helpful. I am so just uber passionate about seeing women walk in their giftings. I find that so many women I meet, they have this incredible feeling of guilt about being passionate about anything other than their family. And the truth is, I don't think God made us one dimensional like that. Your first calling is obviously wife and mother, but a lot of you have businesses in your gut, in your belly. A lot of you have businesses in your heart and in your dreams, and you feel like you should put those on hold until yada, 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 until the kids go to school, or until the kids get out of the house, or until this season slows down. I'm going to tell you something from a mom of 3 kids, the seasons don't slow down. And when they get into school, you could have been building it for the last 5 to 10 years while they were still at home. And then when they do get to school, you'll already have a great foundation to instead of have to start that thing from the bottom up, to literally just scale that thing. Listen, your kids need to eat. Your husband could really use you making just a little bit of extra money for the house so that making the car payment this month isn't so stressful. Honestly, some of you mamas that are listening to me right now, you have the ability, you have the talent, you have the potential to make some income from your family, and you are letting fear stop you from doing it. So I would like to just challenge you right now. And I want you to send me an email to podcast@themagicbrushinc.com if I'm speaking directly to your heart. Some of you have a business, you have the potential to make money for your family, and the only thing stopping you is you're scared. And I want to just tell you, as I sit here today recording this, every single one of us is doing it afraid. I think that other people see what maybe looks like an accomplishment, it looks like people are successful and doing well, and they assume that that must mean that they're never scared. No, au contraire, my friend. Okay, I do things all the time in my business that just terrify the daylights out of me. And I think that that is key to success, is to continuing to do it anyway, even when you're shaking in your boots. And so there you go, friends. I hope that I've challenged some of you women who are listening to me today. Some of you have a responsibility to really demonstrate what bravery looks like to the people that actually live in your household. I'm telling you, I said it on the Facebook Live, and I mean that with everything in my heart. More is caught than is taught with our children. And so if you're talking to your kids, mama, about being brave and setting goals and working really hard and trying new things, and you can be anything you want to be, Sally John or Jimmy Sue or whoever you're talking to. Those aren't even real words, by the way. But if you're saying all of that to your kids and you're not demonstrating it in your own life, they will never grasp it. They will never grasp it. You're a hypocrite. And I love you enough to tell you the truth. So, young mamas, start something. Be brave. Your kids need to see you do it. Your husband would love to have the pressure taken off of his shoulders. You could help just with some of the bills this month by putting your first piece of painted furniture on Craigslist. You've totally got this. If I can help you anyway, please send me an email to podcast@themagicbrushinc.com. But just know that I am rooting for you. I am for you. I believe that God is for you. And if you have been given a talent and a desire, it is full good and well with your soul to go ahead and do something with that. And so I hope that that's just super encouraging to some young mother who's listening today. And if this maybe was not for you, but you know a talented young mother who's raising kids, and you keep telling her, girl, you should start a business, would you do me a blessing, and would you just forward this podcast to her? And if you get a chance, we'd love it if you hopped on over to iTunes and just were able to leave us with a review. Also, your reviews just really help with our podcast sponsors and with getting new guests on, and so we'd appreciate you greatly. So, Merry Christmas, my friends. Until next week, stay creative. Bye-bye.
Again, I want to thank Antique Farmhouse, our podcast sponsor for today. This is where you can go to get all of your farmhouse decor online. Visit antiquefarmhouse.com. Sign up for their emails. You'll get those delivered directly to your inbox every day. Incredible industrial decor, farmhouse decor, shabby chic, and vintage reproductions. antiquefarmhouse.com.